All right, what is a contract? A contract is an agreement where both parties have to satisfy on what they agree to do. It's governed by the good faith law. If you don't have time, look up the good faith law. It's pretty much saying if you don't deliver as you said you were going to do in this agreement, you're in breach of contract. I don't care what contract somebody done printed up on YouTube or on Facebook and said you can use my contracts. If it's not governed by the good faith law, whether you saying it's unassignable or it's more than your favor, when it gets in front of the judge, it's going to be with that judge, and he's going to go by contract law, not by what you wrote up. And believe it or not, in a lot of these court cases where these real estate cases pop up, the judge is not as savvy as you are. So he might not comprehend all these guru contracts that you're using, but he do understand contract law, and that's what he going to go on. Now, my name is Jonah Wilson, so let me go deep into this. Why are we talking about contracts? Because this video is going to teach you how to decipher the difference between wholesaling and assigning contracts. Now, some of y'all have been taught to assign contracts and call it wholesaling. Before we go further, you can reach us at 855-411-0500. That's the number. Also, you can find us on Facebook at Capital Commercial Investors, and it might say Capital Commercial Investors Building Blackwell. So now let's get into it. Wholesaling. Wholesaling requires you to close on a deal. Now let's break that down into regular terms. I'm gonna use the same card as an example. If you paid $10 for 500 cards and they regular $50, and you decide to sell these cards for $15, you just wholesale them cards. All right, so let me explain it to you one more time. If you buy 50 cards for $10 and you decide to sell that same 50 cards for $15, you just wholesale those cards. Now, you had to go to the warehouse where they were selling cards first. Then you had to purchase these cards, take them home, advertise it, try to make you a quick little $5. Now, you could have tried to sell them all individually or whatever for the full 50, but you decided to cut your losses for whatever reason and make a quick little $5. That's a wholesale deal. Now, how does that work in real estate? You might decide to go to an auction and decide to buy the house. It might be a $50,000 house that you bought for 10, and your goal was to put 10 into it and sell it for $50,000 of cash for it, but instead you just want to sell it for a quick $15,000 and make $5,000. There are titles in your name, you did the close, and everything is taken care of. So now you're selling it for a small fee. That, my friend, is wholesaling. Now, there are other ways around it. You can do what's called a double closing, where you do a transactional funding, which I think in commercial you can have it up to 90 days. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me on that, but that's not the point. The point is you borrowing money. It's going to be a A to B, B to C closing in some terminology. But basically, somebody's going to give you the money to close on the house. Then you turn it around and sell it for a fee. Now, there might be a double closing involved, depending on how much is involved. Sometimes you got some markets where people are making six figures, 60 to 100,000, and sometimes they don't want the original seller to know what they're making, so they'll do a double closing. Okay, that's considered wholesaling because you closed on it first. All right, and let's cover what's been taught as wholesaling. And we're going to use this card one more time. This time we're going to make this. Now we'll go ahead and get a piece of paper. Make this a little easier. Now, you see a house on for sale by owner, Craigslist, Zillow, and you go in and You contact that person and you explain to them how the market works, and you use the 70% rule and deduct your repairs and your assignment fee. A key word is assignment fee. So that means we're talking about assigning contracts now. Now, when you are in the contract business of assigning contracts, you are not a wholesaler. Your title is assignor. So now you got to understand the rules of assigning contracts and the labels involved. You are selling for an assignment fee. What you are selling is a contract. You are assigning this contract to what's called an assignor for whatever reason. It can be a commercial building that's worth $400,000. You have it on a purchase agreement, piece of paper that you will pay $250,000. And what you're going to do is you're going to assign this contract with another piece of paper in some situations. This piece of paper is going to say what you're assigning it for. So if you have this building in for $250,000 and you decide to sell this contract for $20,000, you will assign it to your assignor for $270,000. Make you a quick 20 grand. They're making $400,000 in the end, so they don't care about paying your $20,000. Now you just made $20,000 without closing, without purchasing, just by simply what we call locking in a contract for whatever fee. If it's a $40,000 house and you lock it in for 10, and it take 15 to fix it up, you just assign it for like 44. All right, you're not trying to. Thing about this is, I guess where the realtors and all the regulators get upset is this, and I get it. I went to real estate school. I get it. I don't know what happened. When I went to real estate school, the payout was 7%, but now I think it's down to 6%, and sometimes it's negotiated. But if a realtor is in on a $100,000 house and they in it for 6%, they not really making no money. What, $6 grand? I'm not a mathematician. But when you come in as an assigner assigning contracts, and this house is worth $100,000, and you done negotiated this thing down to a ridiculous number to where you making triple the amount a realtor is making. A realtor might be only making 6, you might be in it for 18 or 20. They get a little upset about that and start blowing whistles. Or they might just come to this other side of investing and learn how to do what we do instead of being a hater. But I can see where the dilemma come in. So I would advise keep your assignment fee on a percentage level, no more than 10%. All right, 6-7% on a deal is cool if you're in the right position. If it's a $200,000 house and you in it for 7%, that's 14 grand. Now it's not about levels to this. It's just about target marketing. All right, so if you don't let numbers scare you, try to find a market where houses are 200, 300,000, 400,000, because these houses got to go too. All right. And I'm pretty sure we'll go into that strategy on the next video when we talk about taking over houses with mortgages and liens, and how you can just put a 10% finance fee on there where you're getting a huge down payment when you start your sandwiches. Now, sandwiching, leases, and sub 2 is a whole nother topic. But this is just to cover assigning contracts, know the difference between wholesaling and assigning contracts. If you don't have no money, you shouldn't be wholesaling anything. You need to assign some contracts because it requires no credit, no money, and then let that take you into the next level of things. You never know. Also, I want to say this. All contracts are assignable, but that doesn't mean all contracts should be assigned. If you negotiate an installment agreement, land contract, contract for deed for title, whatever it is in your state, and let's say you sandwich that deal for about 2 years, you can assign that contract to somebody else. Let them sandwich it or do whatever for a fee. So contracts are assignable, but this is just to cover the basic purchase agreements. But I had to let you know that pretty much any contract is assignable, but that doesn't mean it should be assigned. Join us on Facebook, Capital Commercial Investors. You can find our website, capitalcommercialinvestors.com. Also have blackcapitalconsultants.com. If you're interested in being a partner on some real estate or just want to get some experience and some knowledge in, join the group and we'll discuss it from there. We have several members that are willing to help you guys out. So that's all I wanted to say. Because it seems like the real estate world is changing and they waking up to the reality of it that wholesaling requires you to purchase something or close on it first. Assigning contracts is what you really want to do. Jonah Wilson, y'all have any questions? Reach out to me. You got all my information. And there we go again.